Hi there. Just to follow up on our previous discussion, I wanted to highlight like a few things which are important for our existing clients related to GDPR and data hygiene capabilities. There are a few slides what I would like to show to you, and then actually show these things from the UI itself because I think that's also really important. Um, so, data hygiene capabilities related to GDPR, for example. There's a possibility that customer makes a GDPR data request. Then the Custobar user can export all the customer data from the customer profile for GDPR purposes. So the user gets a CSV out with all of the sales data, all of the customer data, all of the event data, even the campaigns, opens and clicks and so forth, which the client has got. So extremely rich data, which isn't usually available in any other platforms. Secondly, sometimes it happens that you import erroneous customer data into Custobar. There's a possibility to delete these customers and all related data via the customer profile by bulk update or over the API. I'll also show you that in the demo. And obviously, then the customer makes the GDPR request to remove all of their data from your record. So then obviously that can be done over API as well, or actually done in the customer view. Then going forward, sometimes in the terms you promise certain things about how long you will have the data in the system. This can be either this obviously can be done with like bulk updates every now and then, but we also have reoccurring data updates. So data is cleansed automatically based on certain rules. For example, a client hasn't bought in 5 years and so forth. Or then you want to just clean up passive clients, passive customer data. This can be done via bulk in the UI or over the API, or then you can also clean it up with the reoccurring updates. All of them work. You'll also see those from the UI. And then maybe the like most specific one is that maybe you're not allowed or don't want to store certain kind of data anymore in your customer base. So what you can do is that over manual data import or over the API, you can remove certain kind of data from like a single client or from the timeline or history of several clients. Let's say that beforehand you, for example, wanted to ask the names of the kids or birthdays of the kids as well. And now legislation, for example, have changed, or your internal kind of like approach on this has changed. It's extremely easy to just delete that data, which will take it away from the customer data, but also delete it from the timeline. Then lastly, if you don't want that all of your users or employees using Custobar see all customer data there, it's really easy to limit the visibility of certain customer data for different user roles. For example, in-store or customer service use. Or then you need to see who has handled customer data. What have they done and when they've done it? So first of all, you can see the change history of every client in the 360 view. Who has done, what have they done? And then obviously also you see the log of what every single customer user has done and at what point of time. If we start from that, this is just like example from the demo environment from my own data. So you have like recent actions. Obviously, this is only like the recent ones, but the whole log of that is visible here. Then if we go to the customer view, so this is the customer's 360 view. Here in the timeline, obviously you can see if the customer has made the data privacy request, but this details have been updated over the API or a user has updated the customer profile. So all of that is logged and also visible here in the timeline. Then if we go to the certain like GDPR or data hygiene features, which you see in the UI, in the 360 view, first of all here, obviously like the data can be edited, and then you see the login, the timeline, but here you can export the data. So then when the customer makes the GDPR data request, the user has to give a reason here, and then they get a CSV out with all of the data, which then can be formatted and sent to the client. And then obviously the other extremely important is that you can remove the client. And here's two options. Delete the customer and related sales event statistics and release the customer ID. So this was basically that the customer data was erroneously imported, but delete customer and anonymize statistics. So the GDPR removal. You give the reason here, customer requested this, then click on remove. Then the data is anonymized, and just for safety measure, there's still 14 days time to basically recover that data. It was if it was done by mistake. And then maybe something from the data hygiene, who can see what, from the customer view layout, both for the top part here, so the general things, or then the timeline here. For different user roles, you can actually define what are the fields, what are the data types which are visible here. So extremely important if you want that not all Custobar users see, for example, all of the details here in the timeline or in the customer view. Then when we look at the data cleanups, so obviously GDPR removals, deleting customers in general can be done over the API. But for example, in this case, I've done a search. So manually taking away passive clients. So first part is all clients who haven't bought in 4 years. So from 99 months, or it could be 500 months or whatever, how long you have data, and 4 years. So people who haven't bought in the last 4 years, or they have sales count of 0, so they haven't ever bought, and their last active date was 18 months, so 1.5 years ago. So last active date is have they browsed, have they clicked, have they bought, all of that combined. Now we have 42,000 people here. If we would want to just like bulk delete all of those, I would go bulk updates, take the field, where is it, is deleted, there, set value to on. This update will remove customers permanently. Then when you click update, off they go. And then obviously the other way of doing it is these like periodic tasks. So here in the settings, you can define these periodic tasks. So for example, once a day, 7 o'clock local time, data update is done, and then you have the criteria. So for example, everybody who hasn't bought in 5 years, and or 5 years of certain kind of products, they're deleted, or people who haven't bought in 5 years and haven't been active otherwise, so they don't have open, click, or browse events in the last 2 years, they're for example deleted. So then that can be done here. So extremely good for data hygiene, and obviously based on what you've promised for the clients, and obviously the GDPR legislation. Yes, hope you found it interesting. If you have any more questions about these, let me know, and I'm happy to help.